on Mike's Mother's Day contest. Is there a mom in your life who truly inspires you? A mom who has overcome challenges and obstacles while still showing up every day with love and strength. Maybe your own mom went above and beyond in ways you'll never forget. We want to hear her story. Send us your nominations and we'll share them on our special Mother's Day episode. After hearing these incredible stories, our listeners will vote for the mom they feel deserves to win a $100 gift card to a local restaurant. Let's celebrate the amazing moms in our community. We can't wait to read your stories. All entries must be submitted by April 25th, 2026. Send your entries to us via email, momsonmikes@gmail.com, or through our Facebook page at Moms on Mikes, or Instagram at Moms on Mikes Podcast. Hello and welcome to Moms on Mikes. I'm Joanne.
I'm Cash.
And I'm Sophia.
Originally, this week was going to be Pink Shirt Day, as that is Wednesday, February 25th, and we already recorded that episode, but in light of recent events, we're going to release the Pink Shirt Day episode next week. Welcome to Tumbler Ridge, a place where natural beauty and vibrant community life come together in perfect harmony. Nestled in the foothills of the Rockies in northeastern British Columbia, Tumbler Ridge is a picturesque district that will steal your heart. But sadly, on February 10th, 2026, hearts were not being stolen by the beauty of Tumbler Ridge. They were being broken by the tragedy that took place. This episode, we are talking about the mass shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. While the town may be picturesque, a dark cloud will now hang over it for some time. Around 1:30 p.m. local time on Tuesday, February 10th, police received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, which is 160 students in grades 7 to 12. Officers arrived on the scene within 2 minutes of the call. When they arrived, they heard active gunfire shots were fired in their direction, but they pushed forward and entered the school.
Within minutes, they located the shooter, Jesse Van Rootseller, who was deceased from what police say was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Authorities found 2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun on the scene, but the Royal Canadian Mounted Police Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald said it remains unclear the exact roles the firearms played in the shooting. Police then began searching for victims throughout the school. More than 25 people were wounded, and there were 8 fatalities, a 39-year-old female educator, 3 female students, all aged 12, and 2 male students, aged 12 and 13. 1 victim was found in a stairwell, and the rest were found in the library. 2 victims were taken to hospital by air ambulance and remain in hospital. We don't know anything about the nature of the injuries sustained by the 25 wounded. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald said Jesse Van Rootseller first killed their mother, Jennifer Strang, 39, and stepbrother, Emmett Strang, 11, at the family home, which police described as a secondary scene, before attacking the nearby school. Investigators believe Jesse acted alone and haven't found a note to shed light on any motives. It is not known what relationship, if any, Jesse had with those killed at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. Jesse dropped out of the school 4 years ago. He did not clarify as to why. McDonald believed the suspect was not related to any of the victims at the school, he said. There is no information at this point that anyone was specifically targeted, McDonald said. We don't have an idea yet as to motive, McDonald said. It is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing, but it would be too early to speculate on motive at this time. There is no immediate information to suggest that Jesse was a victim of bullying, McDonald said. When asked if the suspect faced bullying because of the transition from male to female, McDonald says there was no suggestion of this. Jesse was assigned male at birth but began transitioning 6 years ago, he added. Jesse began transitioning like so many other young people during the COVID-19 pandemic, when young people struggled with isolation, boredom, and loneliness, looking for a community to belong to when we weren't even allowed out in our literal community. They turn to the only place available online, where they are met with a barrage of human interest stories about people discovering their true selves during COVID-19 pandemic, from high-profile celebrities such as Elliot Page and Dylan Mulvaney, who both came out as transgender in 2020, to ordinary adolescents and young adults who began to follow the trend.
This is honestly a difficult time for you young people during COVID. A lot of people were very bored. They really had nothing, they were used to being around their friends all the time and having all this freedom. And then all of a sudden they did not. So this was kind of something, after doing some research, that I found the numbers of people identifying as trans skyrocket during the pandemic. Maybe it's a coincidence. It's just those are the numbers. So yeah.
In the United Kingdom, The Independent described the relationship between pandemic lockdowns and transgender revelations as a mass egg-cracking event without precedent in history, before cautioning readers not to draw the wrong conclusions about potential social contagion. But a new report casts these stories in a rather different light. New healthcare data reveals a surge in mental health diagnosis, with patients seeking help for symptoms related to stress, anxiety, and depression. Adolescents and young adults have been especially hard hit. Although the report did not track gender dysphoria diagnosis among adults, diagnosis rose by 133% among children and adolescents between 2019 and 2023. Other mental health conditions, such as eating disorders, spiked too. The researchers note that, although the peak of the pandemic is over, it seems to be having a persistent impact on people's mental well-being, exhibited by the continued uptick in depression and anxiety. To what extent is the increase in gender dysphoria diagnosis detachable from these other trends? Do we blame stress, uncertainty, and isolation for the emergence of new depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, while crediting social acceptance and awareness raising for the simultaneous spike in gender dysphoria and diagnosis?
I think that that's a very good point. So when all these numbers spiked for people with anxiety and eating disorder and depression, we recognized that there was a problem. Yet when the numbers spiked for people with gender dysphoria, we went, let's accept them. So what's the difference? Why did we want to help the ones that had one, but encourage the ones that had another? Not saying that they don't have the gender thing. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying if all other mental health issues are spiking, should we not have looked closer as to why these numbers spiked?
Jesse Van Rootseller previously had a valid gun license that had since elapsed, McDonald said. In the last several years, police have responded to Jesse Van Rootseller's home on multiple occasions over concerns with mental health. McDonald told reporters on Wednesday. A couple of years ago, he said that police seized firearms from the home and had taken Jesse in for an assessment at the hospital. In fact, police apprehended Jesse more than once for assessments under Canada's Mental Health Act. McDonald said police last visited the home sometime last year and didn't know if Jesse was actively getting treatment for their mental health troubles. About the weapon seizures, he said that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned for those firearms to be returned, and they were. He said that Jesse did not have any firearms registered in their name. Investigators are looking into every aspect of the case, including how Jesse got the guns despite their struggles with mental health. The last police visit in the spring was in response to concerns about the suspect's mental health and self-harm.
Yeah, if the cops are going to the house on multiple occasions, to the extent that they have to remove the weapons from the house, I don't give a shit whose they are. They should not have been returned. I'm sorry, if you want the weapons back, have a different address.
I feel like they failed, though, because they have been there multiple times, so why didn't they do more?
Exactly. At the very least, like I say, don't return the weapons. If you have someone in your house, I am not anti-gun. Let me be clear on that. I think there's certain guns we absolutely don't need to have. No person should own. Guns for hunting and stuff like that, whatever. You do you. That's not a me thing. But I think, people should have the right to have those for hunting. But I think with that comes a certain responsibility. If you have somebody in your home that has mental health issues, those guns should not be accessible. And if that means you can't have those guns in your home because you can't keep them away from the person in your home with mental health issues, then that's a sacrifice you have to make. There's certain things we all have to do as parents, people that have other people living in our home with us, however you want to look at it. I think that should be one of the rules. Not everybody is capable of being responsible with a gun.
I think it's just sad though that how many times have they been out there and look at the outcome? They could have done a way different.
100%. And it's going to get worse as I continue. Your feelings on that, Cash, are going to be amplified in a second here. So Jesse's digital footprint appears to show a fascination with firearms, violence, and previous mass shooters. Ding, 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 red flag, right? As well as drugs and nihilistic content, often within dark and obscure internet forums where users share and celebrate images of death. So basically, he's anti-religion, anti-community, that's what the nihilistic, for anyone that's not aware, that's what that means. Jesse created an account on the website Watch People Die, an online forum where users share images of violent death and glorify mass shooters. The Independent has also confirmed an account with Roblox, so where Jesse created a game that allowed players to simulate a mass shooting inside what appears to be a shopping mall. The account and content has since been removed. In 2019, Jesse created a Reddit account where they discussed suicidal thoughts, video games, and gender transition. In 2023, Jesse started to socially transition and posted that they were on a 6 months waiting list for hormonal treatment, though it is unclear whether they actually received the medical gender-affirming care. Health authorities reported that Jesse was never enrolled in any inpatient care programs in the region. In February 2023, Jesse posted that they started a fire in their house while high on psychedelic mushrooms. In that post, they also said that they had been recently hospitalized for psychiatric care, was experiencing other mental health conditions, including depression, and received a diagnosis that they were on the autism spectrum. Jesse also claimed to be taking antidepressants and antipsychotic drugs. An account on Watch People Die included images and videos of firearms, though the account has since been removed by the site moderators in the wake of the attack, according to an analysis from the ADL, Center for Extremism.
The account includes many images of guns that were also visible in a Facebook post from the shooter's mother. Another image from Jesse's Facebook account in 2024 shows 6 guns with the caption, "Think it's time to take them out for some target practice." Jesse's minor's firearms license expired that year, according to police. On Reddit, Jesse posted an image of a Chinese Norinco SKS rifle, the same model that was also included in an image on their mother's Facebook account. That same firearm was included on the Watch People Die website with an account using a similar username to one Jesse's used on Reddit. The account on the website, which has been linked to several school shooters, was immersed in videos of death and violence, commenting, "I appreciate this post," on a thread that compiled footage of prior mass shootings. I love these first-person perspective type videos. When the shooter records his or her own actions, it's always heat. The account commented on another threat of shooting footage. In August, the user posted that they found violent content addictive. I've tried to stray away from watching this type of thing before because it really sucks me in and is a massive useless time dump, the account wrote, according to the ADLS analysis. Why is this thing even out there?
Right? I don't know. Like, what kind of website is all about showing mass shootings and stuff? Like, I get it. People have a morbid curiosity to stuff like this, but I don't know if we necessarily need it to be available to the public. I find it ironic when we had the discussion how they couldn't talk about suicide in school because it would make other people want to commit suicide themselves. Would this not be the same thing? Right?
This thing sounds like they watched an episode of CSI and they just replicated what they did.
Yeah,
Like, how is it even legal to have a site like that?
right. Well, it's probably on the like, I'm gonna sound so dumb here, but it's probably on that dark web. Right?
All right. To say it doesn't affect me is likely naive, the user added. It just doesn't feel like a big deal. The Independent has requested comment from the website. Roblox confirmed to the Independent that Jesse's account was removed February 11th. The mall shooting game could only be accessed through downloading a separate app used by developers to design games and had only 7 visits, according to a company spokesperson. Jesse's online presence reflects a pattern of online radicalization towards committing mass violence fueled by engagement with violent content, which experts and law enforcement officials are increasingly warning it's a trend of online-driven nihilism. Officials have not found a legible agenda behind a recent streak of high-profile killings and acts of political violence where assailants defied being neatly categorized into familiar ideology or racism-driven threats. A recent wave of attackers instead of broadly declared their contempt for humanity and welcomed the end of civilization. Although these subcultures can produce outcomes similar to ideology-motivated extremism, their goals, worldviews, and motivations differ from classic ideological movements. According to a December report from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, this presents distinct challenges for prevention and safeguarding.
The Anti-Defamation League's Center of Extremism says their preliminary findings show that Jesse followed a troubling pattern of online radicalization and that their online activity was marked by engagement with the white supremacist ideology and a self-described addiction to gore content. The group said that Jesse had an extensive digital footprint across platforms, including a site where users can watch videos of people being beheaded, tortured, raped, and executed. The ADL has studied the website and issued warnings about it. In a report issued last year, the ADL says that 2 mass shooters in recent history had created accounts on the site and increasingly engaged with extremist ideologies, including adopting white supremacist views. They identified the shooters as 15-year-old Natalie Rupnow, who killed a teacher and a teenage student and wounded 6 at an Abundant Life Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, before killing themselves in December 2024, and a 17-year-old Solomon Henderson, who fatally shot a 16-year-old girl and wounded a boy in Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee, before dying by suicide in 2025. The site, the ADL says, serves a virtual space where users, young people in particular, can access extremist content alongside graphic violence and potentially desensitizing them and increasing the risk of ideologically motivated violence. In a YouTube post 6 months ago, Jesse wrote, "I've been pretty, aimless." The now deleted channel's description read, "None of this makes sense." Outlet notes that Jesse changed the name of the channel from Jesse Boy to Jess UWU, although only one post remains featuring the transgender flag and listing she/her pronouns. The video was made around 6 months ago and said, "I've been pretty aimless." The account's profile image featured a female anime character and a rifle set against a pink and white striped background.
A TikTok account using the same profile image under the username Jesse Strang reposted multiple videos of 28-year-old Aubrey Hale, who in March 2023 shot and killed 6 students after opening fire at Christian school in Nashville. Many new videos of Jesse have been circulating since the shooting. One of the most disturbing is one where they practices his Joker laugh. Elsewhere, a Reddit account linked to Jesse includes claims that the teenager had been diagnosed with ADHD and OCD, with mentions of being on antidepressants and antipsychotics on different occasions. On what appears to be her Instagram, Jesse's mother, Jennifer Strang, posted in July that she supports protecting trans children and criticized keyboard warriors. As a conservative-leaning libertarian who lives in the North and loves living in a small town, I really hope the hate I see online is just bored old people and not true hatred, she wrote in July 2024. Do better and educate yourself. In September 2025, she posted about Charlie Kirk's assassination, saying that she was glad she was neither far right or far left politically. On her Facebook page, she posted about being a gun owner. She once updated her profile picture to a photo of 6 guns in Iraq with the comment, "Think it's time to take them out for some target practice." In a July 2021 post, she wrote that her followers should check out her son Jesse's YouTube channel. They post about hunting, self-reliance, guns, and stuff they like to do, she said. This is their way of sharing their life. YouTube had removed the channel by Wednesday, writing that it was removed because it violated our community guidelines.
Even the mom seems a little heavy with the gun stuff, right? So, of course, Jesse had access to it if the
Yeah,
mom
I think
is,
they are a family of hunters, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like hunting is one thing. Like I have no issue with people hunting, but I just feel like you need to be more diligent. If you've got someone that suffers with mental health, then
Right. They should be locked up and,
yeah,
yeah, put away, key hidden sort of deal.
exactly.
Another post from Strang appears to show her asking how to deal with her children, writing in a parenting group back in 2015. I find at home he also has times where he can be very helpful and nice. Then other times he is pretty mean. So that makes me think it's more of a me problem than a his problem. We do have 4 kids, so I feel maybe he feels like he isn't getting enough attention. He's very attached to me and is somewhat territorial. Since the attack, there have been many false images and false information spreading through social media. The most popular being a post that shares the image of a 25-year-old Ontario trans person who has become the target of a cruel online misinformation campaign, falsely identified as the shooter. Within hours of the shooting at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School, social media platforms lit up with photos of a trans person with curly hair, including one framed by a heart filter. The posts claim they were the shooter. The images spread rapidly across X, Instagram, and Facebook, amplified by American comedian Terrence K. Williams, conservative commentator David J. Harris, and users posting in Chinese, Japanese, Greek, German, Portuguese, and French. Some international outlets, including the Times of India and even scattered CBC Radio Canada reports, published the photos before corrections were made. The individual in the photos is 25-year-old Xylee Strang, who lives in Ontario, thousands of kilometers from the crime scene. Xylee's mother, Krista Strang, confirmed to AFP that Xylee is alive and was never in Tumbler Ridge. I don't understand how Xylee's profile was linked to this crime other than my child being transgender and having the last name Strang, Krista said. She described Xylee as devastated and afraid to leave the home after being targeted by the online mob. At least one Canadian influencer with hundreds of thousands of followers acknowledged deleting his false post after being alerted to the error.
Mark Carney made a statement about the shooting. Parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers in Tumbler Ridge will wake up without someone they love. The nation mourns with you, and Canada stands by you. An emotional Prime Minister, Mark Carney, said as he arrived in Parliament. The attack was Canada's deadliest rampage since 2020, when a gunman in Nova Scotia killed 13 people and set fires that left another 9 dead. Carney said flags at government buildings will be flown at half-staff for 7 days and added, "We will get through this." Shelley Quist said her neighbor across the street lost her 12-year-old. We heard his mom. She was in the street crying. She wanted her son's body, Quist said. Quiz said her 13-year-old son, Darian, was on lockdown in the school for more than 2 hours. The provincial government website lists Tumbler Ridge Secondary School as having 175 students in grades 7 to 12. The grades 7s and 8s, I think, were upstairs in the library, and that's where the shooter went, she said. Her son was in the library just 15 minutes prior to the attack. Quist was working at the hospital down the street when the shooting started. I was about to go run down to the school, but my coworker held me back. I was able to get Darian on the phone to know he was okay, she said. Darian Quiz said he knew the attack was real when the principal came down the halls and ordered the doors to be closed. He said fellow students texted him pictures of blood while he remained locked down in a classroom. We used the desks to block the doors, he said.
School shootings are rare in Canada due to our strict gun control laws. The government has responded to previous mass shootings with gun control measures, including a recently broadened ban on all guns it considers assault weapons. A video showed students walking out with their hands raised as police vehicles surrounded the building and a helicopter circled overhead. A makeshift memorial of flowers and stuffed toys began to grow at the edge of the school grounds. Residents met nearby to comfort each other at the local community center. Tumbler Ridge Mayor Daryl Krakowaka said it was devastating to learn how many had died in the community, which he called a big family. I broke down, Krakowaka said. I lived here for 18 years. I probably know every one of the victims. The Reverend George Rowe of Tumbler Ridge Fellowship Baptist Church once taught at the high school, and his 3 children graduated from there. To walk through the corridors of that school will never be the same again, he said. The school district said the high school and elementary school will be closed the rest of the week. Carney's office said he called off a planned trip to Europe for the Munich Security Conference. British Columbia Premier David Eby said the full extent of what happened won't sink in for some time. I can tell you this is an incredibly strong community. Everybody is worried about somebody else, Eby said outside the town hall. RCMP has identified the 6 children and 2 adults shot and killed 6 of the victims. Zoe Benoit, Tikaria Lampert, Abel Mawansa, Ezekiel Schofield, Kylie Smith, and Shonda Avigona Durand were found inside a high school, and 2, Emmett Jacobs, Jesse's half-brother, and Jennifer Strang, identified by police using her legal name, Jennifer Jacobs. Jesse's mom, were found inside a home.
And if we've pronounced any of the names wrong in this episode, we apologize.
Lori Hayer says on social media that she got an alert about the shooting Tuesday and went to the school. She saw her nephew come out of the building and then her son, but Zoe didn't emerge. Hayer later learned her daughter was among the dead. She was such a beautiful, loved, strong-minded 12-year-old, Hayer says, adding, Zoe loved art, playing with her siblings, and had a beautiful singing voice. She was our baby, our girl, and our brave Hulk.
Are you good? Do you need me to read it?
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, this totally... We are all gonna miss you, my sweet baby. A statement from the family describes her as resilient, vibrant, smart, caring, and the strongest little girl you could meet. She brought so much laughter and smiles in her presence. She loved spending time with her family, where she could show her love. The statement reads, Our family is devastated by this loss, but we will cherish her memories with us so close to our hearts forever. She will forever be loved and never forgotten. The grieving mother of Tikaria Lampert, one of 8 victims killed in the mass shooting, lovingly remembered her daughter in an appearance before members of the media Thursday. Sarah Lampert says, Tikaria was whoever and whatever someone needed. Recalling her charitable spirit, she was everything, especially to me, said Lampert. The 12-year-old, whose identity was made public Thursday by the BC RCMP, was described as a vivacious, fearless girl who brought light to her family and those around her. We called her Tiki, my Tika Roo, She's always been a blazing light in the darkness, and if you didn't manage to see her, you would definitely hear her," said her mother through tears. Takaria leaves behind Lampert and 7 siblings who will now have to navigate life without her. "I'm a single mom, and every single one of us mattered in my family. Our truth is that we have learned to become a functioning cell together. Every one of us mattered. And Tiki's absence in our family is not going to go unnoticed," said Lampert. "She was an actual rose grown from the ashes, a family hero. Even just in her existence, she saved me and her sisters. She just wanted to bring sunshine to everyone and everything she ever touched." Takaria was just 2 months short of her 13th birthday. She is remembered among the 6 children and 2 adult victims killed in the horrific attack.
A grieving father whose son was killed said his 12-year-old son loved school so much he cried when his father once suggested homeschooling. "Our son went to school this morning and it happened that someone came to school with a gun, went to my kid's classroom, shot some kids, and my son was killed too, just like that," said in an emotional Facebook tribute to his son. Abel, that by midday Wednesday had garnered more than 200,000 views and 1,000 comments. Abel's father wrote that he raised his son to respect elders, answer to one call, be strong, work hard, focus on his studies, and never miss school. "One day I came up with an idea that he should do homeschool, but he cried that I love being at school," he said. Abel's father said that before his son picked up his backpack and left for school Tuesday morning, he asked his mother to ask his father to pick him up after class at church, where he would be attending a youth meeting, for he loved the Lord. He got a call at work while he was having lunch to pick Abel up at church at 6 p.m., only later to learn that his son had been shot like a stray dog murdered in cold blood. He said he treasures the 12 years and 11 months we spent with you, and said God didn't take his son, but death did. Abel's mother shared her heartbreak in another emotional Facebook post. "I can't handle this pain. It is too much," she said. "Am I dreaming?" Tyler Curry knew Abel through the Tumbler Ridge Soccer Association, where he helped coach the under-13 team. "He was a great player," Curry told Global News. "He was giving it his all. He was trying so hard, and he brought power to the team. There were times when we didn't know what to do, and Abel was sitting there helping his other teammates." Curry said he knows Abel's family is trying to process what happened and mourn the loss of their son. He added that he will look at the photos the 2 of them had together and with the team of the silly and better times. "This shook the town pretty heavily," he added, saying he heard the news through Facebook and through school friends. "When I looked on Facebook and saw Abel's gone, well, hell." Curry said what happened on Tuesday has taken a toll on everyone involved and everyone with ties to the school. He attended Tumbler Ridge High School himself for 6 years. "It was a place I would always go and just be myself," he said. Today, we are holding space for Ezekiel Gofield, 13, whose life was taken in a tragic shooting. Ezekiel was not a headline. He was not a statistic. He was a grandson, a son, a friend, a teammate, a classmate. He was an avid hockey player with local U13 Raptors team. A young boy with goals, teammates who looked forward to seeing him at practice, and a future that should still be unfolding. His grandfather shared through heartbreak. "Everything feels so surreal. The tears just keep flowing. So many young lives were ended so needlessly. Our hearts are broken not only for Ezekiel, but for every family affected by this tragedy. We are choosing to center Ezekiel's life, his name, his memory. Rest peacefully, Ezekiel. You were loved. You mattered. You will never be forgotten." Ezekiel is listed on the roster of the local U13 hockey team, the Raptors.
Desiree Piskarski posted on Facebook that the loss of her daughter has shattered her world. Kylie was only 12 and was growing into such an amazing young woman. She had the biggest heart and was such a gentle, loving, caring girl who lit up the way everywhere she went. She couldn't hurt a fly. Kylie's father, Lance Young, told CTV that Kylie's older brother was at the school at the time of the shooting and hid in a utility closet. Kylie was a light in our family, says a statement from the family. She loved her family, friends, and going to school. She was a talented artist and had dreams of going to art school in the big city of Toronto. Rest in paradise, sweet girl. Our family will never be the same without you. The BC General Employees Union posted on their website, "It is with sadness that we share an update from the Tumbler Ridge Secondary School shooting. We are grieving the profound loss of one of our union members, Shanda Durand, whose life was taken in this terrible event. We extend our deepest condolences to the family, friends, coworkers, and all those whose lives she touched. Out of respect for her family, we will share further information when appropriate. We are in coordination with our members in the region and the employees in an ongoing response. We know this news will be difficult. Grief affects everyone differently, and no one should face it alone. Support resources are available for members who need them, and we encourage anyone who is struggling to reach out to available support services. Your union is here for you. Please take a moment to honor the memory of Shanda, check in on one another, offer support where you can, and keep the Tumbler Ridge community in your thoughts. Information about opportunities, commemorate Shanda, and support the family will be shared as they are available."
Tuesday started as any other for Tumbler Ridge, BC mom, Sia Edmonds, but within hours she was sitting in the Vancouver Children's Hospital with her 12-year-old daughter Maya, fighting for her life due to gunshot injuries in her head and neck. The little girl was one of many people injured in the mass shooting Tuesday that left 9 people dead, including the shooter, and at least 27 injured. Maya Gabella was a lucky one, I suppose, her mother posted on Facebook. Condolences to the other families during this tragedy. This doesn't even feel real. I never thought I would be asking for prayers, but please pray for my baby. Maya's mom posted an update Wednesday on her daughter's condition. We were warned that the damage to her brain was too much for her to endure, and she wouldn't make it the night, Edmonds said. The mom posted a photograph of her daughter lying in a hospital bed with her eyes closed. Maya has a black eye, her head is bandaged, and she is wearing a neck brace and is hooked up to life support machines. She is in extreme critical condition. Krista Hunt, Gabriella's aunt, told Global News. She had surgery yesterday to try and repair the brain bleed, and they're waiting to see how she responds to that. Hunt said her niece has a lot of swelling, and her prognosis remains unknown at this time. They're trying to push the family, all of us, to make a decision, but right now we're not ready for that, she added. Hunt said the doctors were not sure Gabella would make it through the night, but she did, and they want to see how she fares the next couple of days. She has a bullet in her head above her left eye, and she has a bullet in her neck. They're not sure if the bullet in her neck went all the way through or not, or if it's still internal, but they're leaving it for now to focus on her head. Hunt said Maya is a beautiful girl who is outgoing and loves life. Okay, so I'm going to add the last update I did see on Maya. Everything I tried to look for, to fact check it, seemed to say it was, so hopefully this is still the case. She was trying to breathe on her own, and she slightly moved her fingers.
So I seen an update right before we came on here. She apparently, through her mom's Facebook, was moved into recovery.
Oh, thank God. That is such a relief. That's progress, right? That's the best news.
Yeah, I just saw it literally just before we came on here that she was being transferred to recovery now.
Good. We're all hoping. If anybody's wondering why you're not hearing from Sophia, Sophia has a 12-year-old daughter, so some of this is very difficult for her to read. Cash and I both have kids that are not, mine are 30 and 25, or almost 26, so it's not that we're heartless. It's not as hit home for us as it is for Sophia. So
you don't think something like this is going to affect your family? That's insane. She said her niece loves playing hockey and sports, and she's strong and feisty. She commends Maya's friends who, after she was shot, saw her fingers move and carried her out of the school to get help. Maya tried to lock the door of the library from the shooter to save the other kids, and then she tried to lock it and then ran and hid under a table and got shot, Hunt said. They are not giving up hope that she will pull through. She's a feisty little girl who is brave and strong, Hun said. I can feel her in my heart, she said. I can feel her saying it's going to be okay. Edmonds said she cannot reply to the mountain of messages we've received, but know we are so grateful for all the love and support. She's here for how long, we don't know. The mass shooting has left the community of Tumbler Ridge shattered, Edmonds said. Our baby needs a miracle, she said. My heart bleeds for everyone who is trying to process this horrific string of events. Far too many are grieving already. Please wish her luck. A GoFundMe campaign set up by the mom's cousin, Krista Hunt, said recovery time is unknown. All we know is that Maya made it through transport from Tumbler Ridge to Vancouver Children's Hospital and is currently in critical condition. Hunt indicated she started the fundraiser to provide relief for Sia, I think that's how you say her name, Sia, and Maya during this devastating time. It had raised more than $97,000 by 5 p.m. Eastern. This support will provide support for Maya through her recovery and allow Sia to be by her side without financial concern, Hunt said in the fundraiser.
And we will find the info for that and add that to our socials. So if anybody's wanting to donate to the GoFundMe, they can find it through us.
Shelley Quest could see an RCMP officer with his gun drawn, crouched in the parking lot between the Tumbler Ridge Health Center where she worked and the high school where her son, Darian, 17, was barricaded inside a mechanics classroom. A coworker had to stop her from running to the school. I was going to take off to the school, but my coworker stopped me at the door, she said. A few minutes earlier, Darian had texted his mom to say there was a lockdown at school. She called him back and was able to stay on the phone with him as they learned more about what was happening. Darian had been in the library at about 1:30 p.m. before making his way to the mechanics classroom for his next block. Shortly after he arrived at class, a loud alarm sounded. The students used tables to barricade the classroom doors and made plans to escape through the garage door if needed. It was beep, beep, beep. We were on the phone trying to figure out what was going on. He thought maybe it was a drill. Darian eventually found out through text messages from other students that there was a shooter. At the health center, Quest was told that anyone with kids at the high school should go home and stay in place. She went home, locked the doors, and sat in the basement with her other son. After about 2.5 hours on the phone with Darian, he told her he had to put his phone down. She could hear yelling and banging as the RCMP tactical team kicked in the door. Darian and his classmates were told to leave the school with their hands above their heads and escorted to the community center. I heard that and I ran, said Quest. Mother and son were reunited at the community center where she pulled him into a big hug. On Wednesday, the tragedy was starting to sink in, she said. Her neighbor's 12-year-old son was killed. I would see him outside playing. I can still hold my son, but she couldn't even get his body after. She was on the front lawn screaming last night. Quest and Darian is holding up. He was in class with two good friends and they were able to support each other through the ordeal. He graduates in June and has applied to the nursing program at the University of Alberta, but another one of his friends lost his mom in the shooting. The friend saw his mom get shot, she said. We found out this morning that she didn't make it. Quest said she opened her home to any of Darian's friends who wanted to come over. She plans to do some baking and take it across the street to the neighbor's house. We need to be there for each other. It's all we can do. Quest said her family moved to Tumbler Ridge from Saskatchewan a year and a half ago. They've fallen in love with the community and were starting to consider purchasing a house. I'm not going to let this deter me, she said. The father of the Tumbler Ridge, BC shooter has issued a statement following the deadly mass shooting that rocked the small community this week. There are moments when words feel far too small for the sorrow we are carrying together. What has happened has left an ache in the heart of our town that will not soon fade. In a place where we know each other by name, where we pass one another in the grocery store and gather at the same community events, this loss feels deeply personal to us all. Justin Van Rootseller, said, "To the families who have lost loved ones and to every person who has been affected by this senseless and unforgivable act of violence, I offer my most heartfelt condolences. I cannot begin to imagine the depth of your grief. Please know that you are in my thoughts and prayers and that I share in the profound sadness that has settled over our community. As the biological father of the individual responsible, I carry a sorrow that is difficult to put into words. I was estranged from Jesse Strang and was not part of his life. His mother declined my involvement from the beginning, and I was not given the opportunity to be a part of raising him. Jesse did not use the Van Rootseller family name at any point in his life. While that distance is the reality of our relationship, it does not lessen the heartbreak I feel for the pain that has been caused to innocent people and to the town we call home. This is a time for compassion, for holding one another close, and for supporting the families who are grieving such an unimaginable loss. As we respect your grief, we respectfully ask that you also respect ours. There will be no further statements." Jesse Van Rootseller would have been 8 or 9 years old at the time Justice Anthony Saunders of the Supreme Court made his decision in a family law case in Fort St. John, BC. The document does not mention Jesse by name, but stems from a custody battle involving their mother, Jennifer Jacobs, also known and referred to throughout the decision as Jennifer Strang, and father Justin Van Rootseller. According to the 2015 court decision, Justin Van Rootseller has filed a notice of family claim seeking a declaration of joint guardianship over his children. Ms. Strang had noticed that Mr. Van Rootseller was taking legal steps to establish a relationship with the children, to advance that relationship and put it on a proper legal footing, the decision reads. In August 2015, Strang moved her family to Newfoundland. Against Justin's wishes, under BC Family Law Act, a child's guardian must give at least 60 days of notice to a non-custodial parent before moving the child. The only exceptions are for cases where notice cannot be given or there is no ongoing relationship with the child, according to the decision. Strang did not provide 60 days notice before relocating to Newfoundland, and Saunders determined neither exception applied in the case. Ms. Strang is pregnant and expecting another child at the end of January. The decision reads, she says that she made the move from Newfoundland so that she could receive support from her family. As understandable as her motive may be, again, the court cannot countenance this kind of unilateral action.
They can't, basically, the court can't say, they can't make an exception because she doesn't meet the criteria, so there's no exception that can be made.
The judge ordered Strang to return the children to British Columbia, concluding that even if Justin Van Rootseller had not been attempting to establish an ongoing relationship with his children, the exception in the Family Law Act ought not to apply because of how often Strang had moved around. In her submissions to the court, she admitted that there had been at least months at a time when Justin had no idea where his children were, according to the decision. These children had led an almost nomadic life, from what I have been told, with multiple moves over the last 5 years between Newfoundland, Grand Cache, and Powell River, British Columbia. The decision reads, so it can hardly be the case that the children are tied in any meaningful sense to that one location. Saunders also concluded that Strang had made a material misrepresentation to a court in Newfoundland and Labrador regarding how much money Justin was earning at his job in Tumbler Ridge. The judge awarded special costs against Strang, describing her unilateral move across country in contempt of Mr. Van Rootseller's rights as reprehensible conduct. The information in the court decision provides some additional context on the childhood of the perpetrator of one of Canada's worst mass shootings. Police had already said Jesse, who also went by Jesse Strang, was apprehended for assessment under the Mental Health Act last year. In the wake of the Tumbler Ridge tragedy, Education Minister Demetrius Nicolaides has announced that Alberta school boards will soon undergo comprehensive safety audits. The move follows the deadly incident on Tuesday, 10th, prompting firearm-related calls at 3 schools across Alberta. Of course, what we've seen warrants us to undertake a review, Nicolaides said, reassuring the public that Alberta schools remain safe, with hundreds of thousands of kids attending school every day in secure environments. However, he acknowledges the need to address potential vulnerabilities. The upcoming provincial review will focus on enhancing safety standards, particularly issues such as outdated safety equipment, malfunctioning intercoms, and doors that fail to lock properly. While details of the review remain under finalization, further updates are expected soon. In response to the news, representatives from Edmonton's public and Catholic school boards noted they have yet to receive additional details. However, both the Edmonton and Calgary school divisions confirm that safety drills, including lockdown and fire drills, are regularly conducted in their schools. As the situation unfolds, Nicolaides is committed to ensuring that Alberta schools maintain adequate minimum standards to keep students and staff safe.
Doesn't that give you the warm and fuzzies? Adequate minimum standards. So we're going to make sure those doors lock and those intercoms work. There you go, y'all. You're safe. Like, I get it. There's so many kids that go to school every single day. This is not a situation that happens often, especially in Canada, right? Like, but in case it does again, we're going to make sure those doors locked. Which obviously would make a huge difference. I'm not making light of it. That would make a big deal. If the doors actually locked to keep the shooters out, that would be huge. But I just feel like the way that he's addressing this situation is, I don't know, fucking stupid. Like, adequate minimum standards. Can we not get a little bit better than that? Just saying. Okay, so during the RCMP's first news conference on the shooting, Royal Canadian Mounted Police Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald was asked by a reporter for the Global News to expand on the suspect. She asked, was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his mental health? To which McDonald responded, we identify the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and on social media, calling the suspect an 18-year-old female. However, they continued to call him Jesse Van Rootzeller, and in a statement made to Global News by Jesse's biological father, Justin Rootzeller, Jesse did not use the Van Rootzeller family name at any point in his life. It had also been discovered that City News doctored the photo of Jesse to make him look more feminine. So here's my issue. You didn't answer the question. Global News asked you, was there any known health issues? And your first response, instead of, yes, there was, we had been called multiple times, he had been hospitalized, your first response to that question was, we identified the suspect as they chose to be identified. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
I'm sorry. That's not significant.
Oh.
They, if that's what you need to call them, they shot and killed people.
Yeah.
How they choose to be identified doesn't matter. I'm sorry, it doesn't. It's not significant. The question was not asked about how they identify. It was asked, was this person known to police, and was there any previous red flags regarding his mental health? So Deputy Dwayne McDonald, your answer to those questions were yes. Yes, they were. We did know that he had mental health issues, and we did know, and he was known to police. That's your answer. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you had to use the last name that Jesse never even went by, but you used the wrong last name, but you were trying to be very clear on what their pronouns were, that makes no sense, right? Like, their biological father is saying they never used that last name. They went by Strang. But throughout the media, they have consistently called him Jesse Van Rootzeller. All throughout the media. But they don't give a shit about that, but they're trying to make it a big deal about their pronouns. Nobody cares. That's not what the important matter is, right? All throughout the all on social media and stuff, people are making fun of Canadians for this. They're totally like, this is what they address first. That the very first thing that came out on social media about the incident is our CMP standing there and saying, we choose to identify the shooter as they wish. Like, fuck off. No, you didn't. You called him the wrong last name. So also been discovered that City News doctored the photo of Jesse to make them look more feminine. TikTok user Michelle Obama _XY does a fantastic job of explaining what changes they made. So this person works for like gaming companies, like doing like video games and stuff, and they do an overlay of the pictures. It's hard to explain. It's this like flash process of like explain it. You'll have to check out the video, but it basically explains what the media has done to doctor Jesse's picture to make them look more meek and feminine and more of a victim, basically. And if we're going to focus the narrative on Jesse and their mental health issues and how our mental health system is failing in Canada, which I 100% agree that it is, we have to make sure we focus on the facts. So according to Amy E. Sosa, she has a master's in depth psychology. The fact is that the medication given to those who want to transition has some extremely serious psychological side effects. Giving young kids drugs, puberty blockers, testosterone blockers, wrong sex hormones, endocrine disrupting drugs that destabilize emotional states. This is a big word. Spironolactone increases mood swings, irritability, and emotional ability, commonly self-reported potentially from androgen suppressions mimicking low testosterone states, or MR effects on stress mood pathways. So anxiety, panic attacks, and increased worry. Anecdotal reports link spironolactone to heightened anxiety and panic. Some sources hypothesize ties to altered GABA dopamine transmissions. However, one study in healthy men found no effect on experimentally induced panic symptoms despite higher baseline cortisol. So depression or low mood reported in some contexts. Example, increased risk in PCOS patients and anecdotal worsening. It's said that these are side effects, but they're not really side effects. These are the effects. The drugs are effectively unregulated psychotropics. These are mood impacting drugs. And if you look at the timeline of Jesse's documented incidents, it shows a pattern of psychological changes. So at age 12, they began social gender transition. 2022, age 14, dropped out of school. Late 2023, bedroom arson incident reported drawing emergency and law enforcement response. 2024, firearms license associated with a registered owner expired. 2024, approximately weapons previously seized during mental health related interventions were later returned to the legal owner. Early 2026, psychiatric hospitalization reported in Prince George after continued mental health related police contacts. To ongoing, authorities reviewing prior police visits, weapons handling procedures, licensing oversight, and reported social media activity referencing previous mass violence cases. So Jesse obviously had some very serious mental health issues, along with the lack of their biological father's presence and a lot of moving around at a young age. It was a recipe for disaster. And honestly, our mental health system needs to improve. But these drugs that we're giving these kids, they're not safe.
That's what my husband says. He's like, whatever they're giving them is messing with their heads.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And I never thought about it until he explained that to me. And I'm like, you have a point.
Yeah.
Right? These are males. They are not supposed to have these drugs to make them less male.
Exactly.
right? Like
Yeah.
you're just not. You're messing with your brain, you're messing with your body. It's not safe,
Yeah.
right?
It's your whole
And
chemical
that's
makeup.
why Daniel Smith said, no, we
Yeah.
cannot give this to our children. And this is a
Exactly.
perfect example as to why.
Yeah.
If you're already suffering from mental health issues and now you're adding this to your system, it is a recipe for disaster, right? Or maybe
100%.
even if you're not suffering from mental health issues, this can create mental health issues,
Yeah.
right? And
And
that's
I
why
mean,
she said no. And then so many people got mad. And I'm like, why do you want to put this shit in our children?
right?
Why?
Exactly. Like, let's remember that these are kids that are just entering puberty.
Yes.
So everybody think back to puberty. Do you remember how mentally stable were you?
I
Whether
was
you
not
were
mentally
like,
stable.
right? Puberty fucks with people's brains, right? Just regular people, whether you're neurodivergent, neurotypical, whether you have mental health, it messes with you. How many
Yeah.
teenagers cry for no reason, slam doors for no reason, freak out for it's not their fault. It's the chemicals that are going on in their bodies,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
can't handle it. And now you're taking these kids and saying, you know what, there's all that shit going on. Let's just give you some of this,
Yeah.
that will extra mess with your chemical
Yeah.
makeup. And it's not safe. And so I went down this deep rabbit hole. We're not going to go too much into it in this episode. Whether we'll cover it again in another one, I don't know. It's a super controversial topic, so I don't know. But there's, if you just basically Google, are puberty blockers safe for kids? And you go onto the websites of the clinics that are giving you the kids the puberty blockers, they'll say absolutely they are safe. So then what you have to do is go through the ingredients in those puberty blockers and take them out individually and Google them. And they will say no. So the medication they're giving them are ones that are given to kids when I can't remember what it's called, but there's like this health condition. Babies can start going, infant girls can start having, like, they can start developing breasts, they can start getting pubic. It's a medical condition. So they give them these puberty blockers and it stops that. But they don't give it to them the entire time. It's just something to stop that and reset their chemical whatever is going on, right?
Right.
I have known of people that this has happened to that have had a baby girl and have had these symptoms. They gave them the medication for the amount of time. It was like 6 months, I want to say. Everything was normal after because they were an infant and they were meant to have it because things were doing stuff they weren't supposed. Just like if you are given antibiotics because you have a cold, the antibiotics will not help the cold. If you have pneumonia and you're given antibiotics, it'll help the pneumonia, right? So
Mhm.
if your body requires the medication for that specific thing, it's fine. If you're giving these medications to people that do not require them, it's not fine.
Mhm.
If you look at everybody that's online and doing the transition and they're in the public eye doing the transition, watch them closely. Watch how their mood changes. Watch how they're initially so excited. They're going to feel like themselves finally after all this time. And the longer they're doing it, it turns from it's all about them to and how they're great they're going to feel and how this is just making them so much better. And then something switches in them and they are angry and they are violent and they spew hate about like anyone that judges me or whatever. And I don't think it's them. It's the medications that they're taking.
Right.
It just altered like their whole look, and not just the look, the fact that they went from one to the other, the look in their eyes, like look beyond the costume that they're wearing. Just look at them. It changes them.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
5, 10 years ago, parents were arguing because other parents wanted to give their kids medication for ADHD. They were, how dare you medicate your kids? Why would you put that poison into your kid? Like, I
Yeah.
remember when my son at 5 years old, so I guess it's longer than 5, 10 years ago. It's 20 years ago now, but people were awful to me because I wanted to give him the medication he needed so he could like be successful in school. I lost friends over it because they said I was poisoning my kid for medication he need. And I would say to them, if your child was diabetic, would you give them insulin? This It's the same thing. But they were so angry at me for even thinking this. Now we're willing to give kids something to completely change their chemical makeup for a condition that isn't necessary? What? If you feel like you're in the wrong body, we'll support you in every way possible other than this. And once you are finished puberty, once you have grown and gone through all that chemical stuff and hormonal stuff that your body's going to go through, maybe then decide.
Yeah.
Right? But don't let kids mess with it. And people always say when they're like, it's the guns, it's the guns. So if we took the guns away from kids and it saved one kid's life, wouldn't it be worth it? So I'm going to say this. Even if the puberty blockers and all that stuff isn't what's harming kids, if we took those away from kids and it saved one kid's life, isn't it worth it?
Yeah.
Same difference.
100%.
Right? So our hearts go out to the victims and the families. I'm going to attempt these names again, guys. I'm sorry. So Zoe. Okay, yeah, Sophia, you did this. You do this because you did better.
So I think it's Zoe Benoit, Takaria Lampert, Abel Mansaw, Ezekiel Schofield, Kylie Smith, and Shonda Durand, Emmett Jacobs, and Jennifer Strang.
Our hearts and thoughts are with Maya Gabella and Paige Hoekstra, who remain in hospital.
That was a really hard episode for me to do.
I know.
I
I'm
did
sorry.
not think it was going to be that hard.
Yeah.
Right? Like that
It's
was
hard.
really hard for me.
It's hard as parents, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, my kids are older, so I'm able to disassociate a little bit better.
Right.
But it's still hard, man. I'm honestly thankful my kids are not in school anymore because this would be hard. It would be so hard to just accept that. Like that's why I get so angry when they're like, we're gonna make the minimum improvement. Like, fuck off with your minimum. Do everything you can, right? Like, and I get it. It's not free to make all those upgrades and safety shit to the school. It's not gonna be free. The money has to come from somewhere. And obviously it's worth it, but it's going to take time. It's going to take stuff, right?
I don't understand how he got in the school. Like, how did he get in the school? They never covered that.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I know it wasn't the case when my kids were in school, but I know it's the case now because I walk past the school right by my house. Nobody can open the door. Like, once all the kids are in for the day, it's locked and nobody can get in. Yeah.
They're always locked. Like they lock automatically behind you.
But I wonder if maybe at this, in this small town that
maybe they're not locked in a small town. Maybe, but
I bet you they will be now.
Are completely locked at our school.
Yeah.
The only downfall is some of the doors have windows. Right. And
right.
There has been cases like over the summer where people will come smash the windows and get into the school.
Right.
So,
but I think those, not to downplay them by any means, but I think that's maybe more people trying to steal shit from the school during the summer, right?
Yeah,
I don't think they're the same people that are going to.
I know, but my point is
they're still away.
You
just
absolutely smash a window and you can get in the school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a little scary.
I mean, maybe it's time to upgrade the windows, right?
All our doors coming into the school are locked, every single one of them. And then all the classroom doors lock behind you as well. So if I go into a classroom and close the door, person from the outside can't get in unless they have a key.
Right. On all the ones that work. Right.
All the classrooms have to be that way. Yeah.
Well, the education minister said they're going to fix those because there's ones that are not locking.
That are not working?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, from what I can tell,
exactly.
At our school, they're all working.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some some schools are going to have things that are in disrepair, right? That need to be upgraded 100%. But that should be a the barest minimum. That should not take this to happen for schools to be like, oh, fuck, we should fix that lock.
Yeah.
Right? That should just be, I mean, it's sad. It's sad to think that now in society, this is where we're at. But it's the reality of where we are.
It is.
And our mental health system it's shit. There definitely needs to be improvements with the mental health system, 100%.
I think they just try and shove you out the door.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that our healthcare system is so overwhelmed. And when you come with a mental health issue, they want you gone.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I wonder too how much of it is trying to stay, I don't want to just say trying to stay woke, but how much is it with people just trying to affirm that, okay, yes, this is what you're feeling? Because, like we see every day in society, if you say that, no, this is not normal, or no, this is a mental health issue, you're attacked. You're told you're, transphobic, or you're whatever, you're whatever. So, how many psychologists, psychiatrists out there are trying to say, this is a mental health issue. I feel you need this. And then parents or patients are saying, you just are not affirming me, or whatever, right? Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if that's part of the issue as well. Like,
I don't
it's
know,
hard
but
to
I
say.
had an ex-boyfriend who was a little psycho, and he was in the psychiatric unit at the hospital many times, and nothing was done.
Right.
They just talked to him and let him calm down, and okay, you can go now. Nothing
Yeah.
was done, right? And at one point, I thought he was capable of killing someone. Like
Yeah.
he was pretty intense, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing was done.
Right. And I mean, people joke all the time, especially on like social media, how I've been saying, let's bring back the asylums or whatever, or people are making the joke, let's bring back the asylums. Before anyone comes at me, I'm not saying we need to do the like one flew over the cuckoo's nest type situation here, but maybe there are people that need that type of care
Right.
for not only everyone else's safety, but for their safety too. And I'm not saying if you're trans, you need to go in an asylum. That's not what I'm saying, because I know that's what I will be accused of. I am
Yeah.
saying if there are people with severe mental health issues that need constant care, what is wrong with having that?
Yeah.
I don't understand what the difference really is between like a mental health facility versus, what they're calling an asylum. I'm under the understanding that it's just a hospital for people to get better, right? Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know. But I guess it would be the same as our criminal justice system. They'll be out in 3 months
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
But honestly, you're not keeping your public safe, right? The innocent public are who need to be kept safe from people who have severe mental health issues and criminals. But oh my God, yeah, this was a heavy one.
Well, that's crazy. She's in recovery right now, hey? I'm just reading that.
That's awesome. That's so good.
She's in her recovery room. So now they're just letting her heal.
Did you see the trauma though that her mom's had to go through?
No, what?
There's been like shit with her car. Someone's tried to break in or something like that.
What?
Let me see. It might be on the beginning of that post.
Like trying to break into her car for what? Like just because they're a regular asshole, or
Oh,
because they're
someone sliced her cover, like her truck cover, and stole her paddleboard and potentially her golf clubs.
what the fuck, man? That's some special kind of dickhead to be out there doing that.
Yeah, but those things are all replaceable. Like I know it
Yeah. Oh,
sucks that
for
people are
sure.
doing that.
Yeah.
And it's probably people who don't even know who she is. Just her car's
That's
there,
yeah, hopefully that's the
right?
case. Hopefully it's not hopefully
They're
it's
not
not a
like
targeted.
right.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Leave her alone. She's going through enough. Fuck.
People are assholes.
Right? That pisses me off.
And she played hockey with that other kid.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, what's his name? The EZ.
Ezekiel?
Yeah. She played hockey. Maya played hockey with him on and off for years.
I'm not a religious person, so prayer is not really my thing, but I am sending all the positive thoughts. I'm hoping
Mhm.
that she pulls
Me
through.
too.
I have a feeling she's going to.
Yeah.
She's a tough girl. I mean, she was trying to save her classmates, right? Like she ran
Mhm.
and blocked the door and stuff. Good for her. That's it for Moms on Mics this week.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Moms on Mics Podcast, on TikTok at Moms on Mics, and join our Facebook group, Moms on Mics.
If anyone has any topics you would like us to cover, or if you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at momsonmics@gmail.com or submit through our website, momsonmics.com.
We would also appreciate it if you could rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening on. It really helps the podcast move up on their charts so it gets more exposure. I hope you join us again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.